First off, I want to say if you've made it this far, I'm unbelievably grateful for your feedback and your interaction with my page. I have all platforms including YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, LinkedIn. Let's get personal. Go ahead and message me. I want to hear from you. What do you want to listen to? What do you want to hear in the next podcast? Do you have goals? Do you need a little bit of motivation? Do you need a little bit of pride to get yourself in the right direction? Let's talk. Contact me at anywhere, anytime, at any point. I'm here for you. Thank you.
All my life I've been tired of hearing you're not good enough. Oh, I knew I was gonna prove them wrong and show them what I'm made of. My father said, you're just a dreamer, pull your head down from the clouds. If you work hard like me, in 40 years time you retire and be living the dream. I said, but I got this fire as I got to my feet. Yeah, I got desire as I planted my seed. I'm gonna be brave, I got nothing to lose. Get out of the shade, feel them boots. I'm gonna be great. I've been paying my dues. When I'm brave, there ain't nothing I can't do. What I've learned, doubt is a demon and he wants to call you bluff. But I don't give in, I stand my ground when it comes to push and shove. Cause I got this fire burning relentlessly. Yeah, I got desire that surges through me. I'm gonna be brave, I got nothing to lose. Get out of the shade, feel them boots. I'm gonna be great. I've been paying my dues. When I'm brave, there ain't nothing I can't do. No matter what they say. All the doubts and sneers, all the burning in my ears, I'm not afraid. Yeah, yeah. My fate is in their hands, and I know who I am. Oh, I'm gonna be brave, I got nothing to lose. Get out of the shade, feel them boots. I'm gonna be great. I've been paying my dues. When I'm brave, there ain't nothing I can't do. I'm gonna be brave, I got nothing to lose. Get out of the shade, feel them boots. I'm gonna be great. I'll be paying my dues. When I'm brave, there ain't nothing I can't do. Oh, when you're brave, there ain't nothing you can't do. When we're brave, there ain't nothing we can't do.
It's recorded.
I'm sorry, I forgot
the screen's
audio.
recording, but not. Yeah, okay.
My
That's all
fault.
good, man.
I'm
Start
so
again.
sorry.
It's all good. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, and because I was the one that reached out to you, having Inner Peace podcast, and yeah, it's I really appreciate you taking the time to helping me share my story. So yeah, as you've already mentioned, I'm a singer-songwriter from New Zealand originally, but now living in Germany. And I'm going to give you a very top line. Maybe we'll get into depth later on in the podcast, but I'm in Germany for love. My girlfriend is German. And, back home in New Zealand, I worked in marketing in a so-called proper job, working 9 to 5 in an office, and moved to Germany first and foremost for my girlfriend who was missing home. But I used it as an opportunity to really focus on music, which has always been like a side passion back home for me, and I decided to make it full-time here in Germany. And for the last 2 years I've been a full-time musician, hustling away, and it's definitely not been easy, but it's been so rewarding, and I've learned so much, and I'm excited to continue going in this direction.
So I want to tell you a funny story. Actually, when I was in San Diego a couple years back, I met this unbelievably gorgeous woman who's from Germany. And I think actually it was the most beautiful woman I've ever met is from Germany. So I guess the German women are where it's at. But so where does this love for music? I understand that you play a lot of acoustic music as well. Where did that love come from? When did you get the guitar?
Well, it's a long story. I mean, my parents, they started me early as a child. I'm Asian, and Asian parents have a reputation of getting their kids into piano lessons and violin lessons and doing extracurricular activities. And so, I was no different. At the age of 4, I started playing the piano, and at the age of 8, started playing the violin. And played those for a number of years. But, as with most children, I lost interest because my parents probably pushed me a bit too hard. Obviously, now looking back, I wish I never quit, because those skills would be so valuable to have right now. But, the reality is they probably pushed me a bit too hard, and so I lost interest and ended up quitting. But it wasn't until high school, when I was about 15, when I got involved with the school musical. So Les Mis, it's a very famous musical, and that was my first kind of experience singing. And I just randomly auditioned and was lucky enough to get a lead role in that musical, and have been singing ever since. And the guitar is very much self-taught. So I'm not like a super skilled guitarist who can do solos and stuff, but I can do the basic acoustic stuff to accompany my voice. And so that's kind of how the musical journey came about.
Okay, so you talked about this transition that you made from working the 9 to 5, right, marketing, into making this full-time music. How do you do it? How do you market yourself? What does the hustle consist of?
Well, the hustle, first and foremost, it starts with just doing it. Like so many people, they're waiting for confidence, or they're waiting for the right moment, and it kind of never comes. And I think from my experience anyway, you're never ready to take a step like that. You just kind of got to do it. And, I was kind of lucky that my girlfriend, who, is German, and we lived in New Zealand for 2 years. And so she was missing home, and so we moved to Germany. And I just took that as an opportunity to say, hey, I was turning 30, so I'm 31 years old now. I was 29 at the time, and was kind of like, it's a big reflection point in life, the big 3-0. And so I decided, let's just go for it, and have no regrets. And so that you just learn as you go. I didn't really have a plan, to be honest, and any plan that I did have went in a completely different way. So if there's anyone out there who, it doesn't have to be music, it can be an entrepreneur or a freelancer, or anyone who wants to kind of do their own thing, it's kind of just taking the leap and just trusting yourself that it'll all work out. And and it'll take you places where you never expected to go.
I post a bunch of these, like, just short 30-second clips of motivation, and one thing I emphasize all the time is like taking risks, not living with regret later. And you literally just put that on the dot for me. You just talked about having the confidence and taking those kind of leaps in life. I think the biggest thing that hinders people and their performance and their dreams in life is that insecurity issue whether
Yeah,
they are
absolutely.
insecure about themselves, right? Or they're insecure about what other people have to say about them.
That's that's another part of it as well. And yeah, I was raised a very by conservative parents. You know, they're hardworking parents, and you know, they're not super rich, but they're comfortable middle
Make it
class
happen.
parents, and they kind of got to where they are by just saving money and working. And you know, my dad's worked for the same company my whole life for 30 years, and yeah, they don't, you know, my dad never took any risk in life. He just played it safe, and that's kind of his personality type, and it's worked out well for him. And I think it's also something that, you know, our parents' generation does as well. You know, it's just a generational attitude.
Yes.
We're lucky that there's so much opportunity out there. And so I really had to train myself and teach myself how to take risk, because I was very risk averse before taking this huge lifestyle change.
Was it when you went about doing choosing to go all in music? Was your family 100% accepting? Did they ask questions? Were they worried for you?
They were. So initially, I think they assumed that I would continue finding a marketing job and kind of do music on the side. And that was probably a communication issue on my part. But, you know, I started playing music with no contacts, no networks or anything on the other side of the world. So, you know, the first place you start with music is playing on the streets. And so I would play on the streets for 5-6 hours a day. And I would document this on social media.
Of course, have to.
And my dad would see this content, and he'd just be like, what are you doing with your life? Like, you're 30 years old and you're just playing on the streets like a bum. Like, you just seem like you're drifting in life. What's going on? And so that definitely caused a bit of friction in our relationship. And yeah, I have been very close with my parents, and they generally do have a lot of input into my big life decisions.
Absolutely.
And this was kind of the one time I ignored them and disagreed with them. And so it was definitely challenging. And also, you know, there's judgment from your friends as well sometimes. So
Do you
yeah.
deal with that kind of judgment still?
I think now it's, to be honest, now it's less so judgment, but it's also kind of accepting that you got to learn how to separate your friends and maybe your followers and your audience.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if you have experienced the same thing as you know, having your own podcast.
A little bit.
But you know, I have learned to accept that, you know, some of my good friends from high school that I'm still in touch with, and we still have good relationships with, they're maybe not as in love with my music that I am, or you know, my other followers are. And I just have to accept that that's, you know, it's not their musical style or it's not their musical genre, but they're still my friends. And I think anyone taking on a journey like this has to learn how to separate those things and not take things too personally. So that was a big learning, because I did get quite offended easily at the start.
That's actually really great, because I guess I was because I'm actually in the United States military, so I'm enlisted.
Yep.
This is
I
what
saw that.
do.
I saw that on Instagram.
And that was kind of another thing as well. Don't get me wrong, 95% of people accepted my big decision that I was going to make, but it was weird. Kind of the people I was closer to, my friends. Second question, like, is this really what you want to do? Like, it wasn't necessarily the fact that they completely disregarded the fact that I was giving up everything that I had to go do this for my country, but I mean, it wasn't the initial, like, oh, that's so cool that I was kind of expecting, because obviously anything that they do in life, right, you know, I'm obviously going to support them 100% all in, but it was I'm with you 100%. It was almost kind of hard to hear that kind of have that life barrier, something that I had never experienced before, and that
Yeah.
I think comes with age.
Yeah.
Definitely a milestone learning
Yeah.
moment for me, for sure.
But these are the things that you learn about yourself and about people around you, and you don't learn these things if you don't get out of your comfort zone. And I think we are better for that, to actually know and have a bit more knowledge.
I think it is so cool that you do music full time. I want to dig a little bit deeper into your hustle. If that's
Yeah,
cool
let's
with
do
you.
it.
So, what is your biggest way of promoting yourself?
So like, well, hey, we're talking now, and that's kind of like one of my, shall we say, strategies. You know, as an artist, because I'm going through this journey of hustling and trying to make something of myself, I write songs about that kind of journey and the challenges and the obstacles that we face. And I would, start playing these songs and on the streets or at open mic nights, and people would come up to me and say, "Dude, I can so connect to that song because I'm just opening up a cafe right now and it's scaring the shit out of me." Or, I met a dentist who like quit her job because she wanted to do social work, and her parents couldn't get it because it would be a big pay cut, but she just wanted to help people. And so, it's not, success is not necessarily just in the traditional sense of just money or fame. It's just doing what is rewarding and gives you fulfillment. And so in a nutshell, I wanted to be an artist who wrote music for these people, who to encourage people to take a leap if they're kind of hovering on the edge. And if you're taking the leap, I would kind of want to help push people along and give them a bit of inspiration. And so as an artist, that is what I stand for.
And that's what keeps you going, huh?
That's what keeps me going.
Yes.
And so, look, I'm big into like motivational podcasts.
Yes.
Because I think that like if you ever need a bit of motivation when you're feeling a bit lethargic, listening to podcasts like this really helps me. And so I
have to listen to motivational podcasts because I'm motivated. Yes.
Yeah. And so, so I started approaching a few, motivational podcasts because I thought there was a connection and we had something in common. But look, marketing my music is like, to be honest, there's no one particular thing I'm focusing on. It's just everywhere. It's kind just flirting all over the things. Social media, playing out in public as much as I can at open mic nights, on the street, anywhere I can play.
I think the craziest thing about the world that we live in today is this, especially my generation, is being this first generation to really go full into like the force, right? We're getting kind of to that age, that 21-year-old mark, where we're really starting to get into college, maybe making that transition out of college, of having this wonderful thing called social media and tech and internet. Like, because you're right, generations before us, that's what they had to do. That's because an insured way of making a living is working the 9-to-5 job down at the factory. It's unfortunately that's the way it was.
Yep.
Now we institute this idea of internet and social media. We now have an opportunity to make a living doing other things, still making a ginormous impact on people we don't even meet. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, as a musician who has no label, right? I'm completely independent. I don't have a manager. I do everything myself at this point. And with the power of social media, I can get my music in front of people all over the world. And 20 years ago, that was impossible. So, and it's not just music that is kind of in that phase. Every industry is affected by technology, and look, it's an opportunity for everyone.
100%. Actually, I feel like if businesses and labels and brands that do not use social media to the absolute max that they can are going to lose in the future. I 100%
Yeah,
believe
definitely.
that. 100%. Because I think, like I said, I post content like 4 to 5, 6 times a day. Right?
Wow.
It's just like little short
That's
quotes.
a lot.
Yes, it is. Just stuff that I edit. I'll take screenshots of motivational tweets and I'll post it on each social platform. I'll make 30-second clips of just stuff from the podcast.
Nice.
But I love that, and to get like an interaction out of people, same way with you, people swipe up and say, "Hey, I really like what you're doing. Hey, thank you." Like, that means a lot. I've had people swipe up, "Hey, I'm going through, excuse my French, but I'm going through shit in life.
Yeah.
And I just listened to one of your podcasts, and it changed me. It made me want to go do tomorrow." I think that is so cool that I'm starting, like, obviously that's my goal, is to make an impact on people who want to do amazing things in life, and to start seeing that and really like starting to see this transition of people listening and taking charge and interacting with my stuff is, I think, the utmost coolest thing.
That is super cool.
Super humbling, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. And no, like, it's funny, like, I think we play similar roles, right? Because I always see that, you know, the future will be built, whether it's be like socially, technologically, economically, politically, it'll be built by these people who put themselves out there and take risk. And there are a lot of people who are kind of, you know, not quite there and ready to take the risk. And so I feel that, like, myself as well as you, we have a responsibility in what we do to help these people become great, because yeah, I'm just a singer. I'm not going to do anything great for humanity, but if my music can make a difference and create a bit of spark in someone, that's my role. That's how I see it.
100%. Got a question for you. What is your biggest seller? What song is your biggest seller? Has the most listens?
So the biggest song would be Brave.
Yes.
And that was my debut single. I've only released 4, so relatively new, but looking forward to releasing a bunch more. But yeah, Brave is kind of seems to have defined me as an artist and what I stand for. And that song was written actually after a phone call with my dad, and this is a phone call when he said, you know, "What are you doing playing music on the street like a bum? Like, sort your life out." And I tried to explain to him and justify myself as to, you know, I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to do to find success, and I just couldn't reason with him face to face. It just wouldn't work. And so we ended up hanging up on each other, and you know, I cried after that phone call, and, you know, full of emotion, because, you know, I have this, you know, like most young men have this, you know, we want approval from our fathers, right? It's just kind of natural. And I was upset that he wasn't believing in me at that point. And so, yeah, I wrote the song, and it turned out to be a song that many people can relate to. And yeah, and I'm super happy about it. Yeah.
Do you still, like, has that relationship with your father, has that changed over the course of these 2 years? Are there still obstacles kind of in the way, things hindering?
Yeah, so you know, I started releasing. Firstly, I released that song "Brave," and, you know, I was very transparent with my dad as to how that song came about, and so, you know, he kind of really felt the emotion that I was feeling, and he saw me back it up with a few more singles, and he saw me hustling, and he saw me working my ass off, and I do believe that he was very proud. And you know, he would even, like, write in the comments of some of my social posts how proud he was of me, and that was like, oh, what a good feeling. Like,
Yes.
like, got tears in my eyes reading it. And I actually had other friends who have had similar experiences with their dad see that comment and go, dude, like, what a personal moment. And so, yeah, so they're slowly coming around, and there, you know, it's up and down though, because, you know, this Corona period has really messed up the music industry
Everything.
for sure. Yeah, so there are no gigs at the moment. They're starting to pop up again, like in the next few weeks. But there's since February, there's been nothing, like legally couldn't happen. So and that was in my income. So
Yes, yes.
I had no income for the past 3-4 months, apart from some donations on live streams that I was doing, which was not much. But it's those are the tough times that really test you. And this is when my dad came in again. He said, so yeah, these times are pretty tough. Like, you should probably start looking for like a proper job. And I had to kind of like throw water on that fire and just to tell him, no, just keep the faith, hang in there. I know what I'm doing. But at the bottom line, I do know, my parents want what's best for me. That's very obvious. And I sometimes just like to say that they don't know what's best for me.
So we're gonna move on to where at now.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Where in Germany?
So in the city of Cologne, which is kind of like in the west side of the country.
Okay, is that where the mountains are?
No, the mountains would be kind of more south.
South?
In
Okay.
Bavaria, yeah.
One of my biggest dreams, what's on the bucket list, it's actually written on a piece of paper over here, is to go backpacking in the mountains of Germany. Like
I haven't done that, but
really
do it.
Okay.
But do it and stop in Cologne and come say hi.
Oh, actually, that'd be the reason I'd go out there, just to come say hi. I think actually, I thought about it last night. Like, if it would ever be a chance, like maybe next year, to come out, and since I know you, come out and see you, and you can show me around. I don't know if you wanted to like sit down and have another podcast or whatever. I just thought about it. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. No, definitely, Ken. You're always welcome. We got a spare room. Welcome to stay.
Oh, I'm gonna keep you onto that.
Yeah, you can.
All right. So, the gigs. Do you live kind of in the urban areas, kind of in the city?
Relatively urban, not like right in the center of the city, but
Right.
kind of in this more suburban area. Still in an apartment building, but it's a little bit quieter than the center. But the public transport's really good, so
Okay, I was actually just gonna ask that.
you can get into the center.
Do you use just public transportation to go to gigs that are usually in the city?
Yeah, so when the gigs are kind of in the city, I use public transport, and there are like there's so many cities within, say, 100, 150 miles of Cologne. It's not just this city in itself. So I can even hop on the train for relatively cheap to go to a few different other cities and hit up open mic nights and sing at events and things like that. So so very lucky that it's population dense here and there's a lot going on.
That is so cool. And do you only bring your guitar with you? Or
It depends. So like I have a speaker as well, a speaker and a microphone, which I bring to private events if there isn't any equipment provided. But normally, like, I like to just bring the guitar.
Okay. And question, I'm just curious. Like when you're doing just shows out on the street,
Mm-hmm.
Do you find an outlet to where you can plug the speaker in, or are you literally no microphones, nothing, just playing with the guitar out on the street?
Well, my speaker, firstly, is battery operated, so that's very handy.
Oh.
But secondly, speakers are illegal to play street music with, so I'm not allowed to use amplification.
That should be a law here too.
Well, look, dude, it's great. I think it's good for for citizens, residents who are living or working around the place. I think it can be a bit much sometimes.
Yes,
but from the artist's perspective, it does impact what you earn.
Okay.
A huge amount. Unfortunately, not all street artists are good street artists. But yeah, so I just have to sing as loud as I can, and and it's kind of strengthened my voice. It's like a muscle.
So I wanna dive into what's next. What's next for you? Do you are you continuing to write any more new music?
Yeah, so well, actually, in 2 days' time, I don't know when this podcast comes out, but in 2 days' time, I'm releasing a remix of Brave, which was my first song that we were talking about. But I also have another track which I'm going into studio to record next week, which is kind of the last track, which is going to be my EP, and that'll be released in the coming months.
Okay.
And I've got so many songs in the bank, ready to go. Just getting into studio, getting a producer, and making those songs really come to life. It's a matter of like picking which ones at this point, but most of them are like this motivational message. Right. And what I found really interesting is that like Brave was my first song, and it was very positive. It was like, be brave, you can do it, just take the risk, take the leap. And it was all positive, because I was at the beginning of this new journey. And when you're at the beginning of the journey, and I don't know if you've experienced this as well, but when you like just started this, you've got so much energy and you're just like ready to go out and smash it. And sometimes that energy is not sustainable. And I've been at this music thing full time for the last 2 years now, and it goes in momentum goes in waves. And this COVID-19 period has definitely been like a kind of a ditch, and it's been, it has had an effect on my mental state and, the hustle and everything. So I've got songs that are kind of explain that side of things as well. Okay. It's not all just positive stuff up here, right, but there's like real grit and, self-doubt and frustration, but turning that into fuel to continue the hustle rather than letting it beat you up.
I think that's the biggest thing that everyone here that's listening needs to hear is, like, genuinely, there's a lot of positivity that we can bottle up and spread out into the world like sprinklers.
Yeah.
But I want people to understand that you will go through things in life that will bottle up negativity and will make you question who you see in the mirror. I think the biggest thing that we should all understand, and I hope you agree with me on this, is that when you keep moving forward, you have no idea what to expect it's going to be in front. When you talk about changing life or my life's going to be great in the future, you have to continue moving forward. If your life's going to be great in the future, it may not be great in the past, right? We talk about like driving. You can't drive. You can't keep driving forward if you're looking in the rearview mirror. If you want to change paths in the road, if you want to take the off-ramp, right, go down a different road in life, you can't be looking backward. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always emphasize about moving forward and everything.
Yeah, we all kind of wish, we had done this so-and-so earlier in life. Like, because as I mentioned, I'm 31, and it was only in my late 20s that I started pursuing music properly. And, sometimes I say to myself, oh, if only I could have started in my early 20s, I'd be in a different place today. But the reality is I would be a completely different person, with completely different experiences. And if I am honest with myself, I'm pretty happy with who I am and what I've become out of these experiences.
Yes, 100%. That's biggest thing for me. I understand, right, that I'm super, super young. I feel like maybe I've gone through a lot, but I also understand that I haven't even started in the kind of opportunities that are going to be opening up for me. Those who are
you haven't started.
That's kind of when I joined.
Yeah.
I had this moment where I was like, did I make the right decision? Am I giving up too much? Am I going to be missing the greatest part of my 20s? That was definitely a question that I had before I started it, even when I first got in. as we've progressed in time, I 100% know that I did the right thing. And this is going to be the coolest thing for, for my age. Obviously, military looks good when you talk about future jobs or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've learned a lot about myself and how much I can overcome in just the few months that I've been here.
Yeah.
Right? I've learned that not taking things for granted. I've learned about appreciating, finding what's important in life and valuing it to the utmost position that it needs to, because those are the people or the things in life that'll help you when you're down. And finding those to be important and valuing them now, so that way when I'm 60 or 65 one day, I don't live with an immense amount of regret. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's the craziest thing, is that, like, I understand that we'll be old one day. I understand that I'll be 25, 30, 35 one day. And I'm just, like, I ask myself, on the realist note, I ask myself where I want to be at, okay? And then I take a moment, and I'm going to say, how am I going to get there? Okay, I'm going to give you an example. I want to become a commercial air pilot.
Okay.
Okay? That's my ultimate dream.
Nice.
So what am I doing to get there? Okay, so I enlisted. Obviously, they're going to help pay for my schooling, my flight school, right? That's kind of why I joined. And I also got into a job that literally works on planes. Like, I'm a plane mechanic, right? So I joined. That was the first step. Got through boot camp, got through what I needed to do. The next step was graduating school. So what did the daily grind look like? It got up early, shaved, cleaned, went to class, took notes, came back, studied, ate, took a nap, do it all over again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now I've graduated. What's the next step? Okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm the utmost best person in the workplace or wherever I'm going to be at. Making myself look sharp. Get as many qualifications as I can. Get as many referrals as I can as a person. Make myself look good. You know what I'm saying? And then when it comes to that 5-year mark, actually the 2-year mark, hopefully I can start taking classes to start getting on that pilot step. So that'll happen the first month of 2022. We'll be able when I'm able to start doing that, and I'm really hoping that all works out. And that's the daily hustle. That's the daily grind. You know what I'm saying? I admire how well planned you are. That's amazing. You've just kind of, what you want, the destination, and you've put the moving pieces in place to get there, and that's awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. I want everyone to hear this when I say this. When people talk about chasing their dreams and risking things, like, I don't want people to think they're going to risk everything, risk all the money that they have, or risk losing their family or their loved ones to go chase something that will make them rich, wealthy, or famous. I just want people to understand that there are things in life that we need to value. And if you think about where you want to go and you put your mind to it, you put work in every day, you're patient with the process, trusting that the work that you put in will get you somewhere, and you persevere through the challenges that life has to offer. I really think it's that simple. And I tell people, watch yourself succeed, watch yourself get there. And your story is just 100% where it's at. You took a risk. You cannot tell me that you don't put in every ounce of energy and work into what you do. Like, you won't convince me, right? Because I know that you put in 400% work, right? Because I know that.
And Cole, you kind of reminded me, because I'm sure you read a bunch of self-development books. They're kind of, they're the books people listen to, that people who listen to podcasts like this read. And, kind of the general consensus from these books and what I've learned is that in order to find, most people who find success, they have the goal is, or the purpose is not a selfish one. And if I'm to be completely transparent and honest with myself, when I was younger, I was very kind of selfish and focused on myself. So, and when I wanted to pursue music, and it was just kind of, what's the purpose? What's the goal? To be a successful musician and be rich and have some fame. And I've learned along the way that that's not really something that's going to motivate someone properly. And so as I've explained to you that, I found the purpose of wanting to inspire people and motivate people to chase a meaningful life. That is now what drives me and what, keeps me doing what I'm doing. And it gives me a huge sense of fulfillment and purpose, knowing that I'm striving towards this goal. And you with this podcast, you've got the exact same goal.
It's making me do a lot of thinking, because I ask myself that too, like, what do I really want to get out of this podcast, or what do I really, really, really want out of life? I think that's the biggest question that keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I don't know. Yes, I want a lot of money, but why do I want a lot of money? Is because I want my children, if they wanted to go off to college, let's send you off. You know what I'm saying? Give you that opportunity. If my wife got into a car accident and had to go into the hospital, it's not going to be the end of the world for us. If we needed to get a tow from California on a road trip, I got that for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's
yes,
safety and security. Yeah.
Security. That was it. That was the word. Security. That's 100% what I want in life.
Yeah.
I just trust in it, man. Like, what else is there to do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Having a lot of faith.
Yeah, that's kind of like one of the main things that I had to learn and adjust to, was kind of moving the focus from my own selfish motives to one that kind of serves others. And I think a lot of the successful people that are out there, that's, they got their, they're successful, but I don't think success was necessarily the goal. The goal was doing something great for humanity.
I agree.
Delivering a service. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I 100% agree with that. Wow. Making me think a lot, man.
Good. I hope the listeners are going to think as well.
I do too, on the realist note. But I think this will for sure be the coolest podcast I probably will ever do.
Nah, man.
I don't think
you'll continue to grow, and as you build, so will the caliber of the people you interview. That's just how it works. So you're gonna be all good, man.
Think so?
Yeah.
All right.
And you're young. You're so young. I envy you. Like, you're so, like, to be so motivated and open-minded and self-aware at that age. That's a massive head start in life. And I was not like this back when I was your age at all. And so I've done a lot of growing, but you're years ahead of me. So
I'm humbled.
Just know that. Be aware of that.
Thank you so much. And I feel like we've talked about a lot. I think we really hit the main goals that we really wanted to hit onto the head.
Yeah, of course I'm going to give myself a little plug. So the name is Ant Utama. If you search me on whichever music platform you use,
your links,
Spotify.
Your links will be everywhere that I post about you, about this
awesome,
podcast.
Nice.
It'll be there. So keep going.
So yeah, Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, whichever you use. Please check out the music, and don't be shy. Like, feel free to direct message me on Instagram and let me know what you think. If you like it, if you don't like it, I love to hear everything. So yeah, and I mean, look, the goal of my music is to, I want someone to, if someone's, wakes up, and we all have these days where we wake up, we keep wanting to press snooze because it's not our day to day, and
Yes.
you just can't be bothered. I want people to like push on, press play on my songs, and by the end of the song, they're like, no, it's time to go out and smash the day. That's my goal, and that's what I write music for. And yeah, please, if you're listening, give that a chance, and let me see if it has the desired effect. Too often we follow our mind, or our brain that tells us logically what the right thing is to do, and sometimes our brain isn't right. The first time I followed my heart in life was with my girlfriend Alida. We met backpacking, fell in love, and then I had to go our separate ways. But my heart, her heart made it happen. When our mind said that wouldn't work. The second time I followed my heart, and it's a story in itself, but whilst backpacking, on another trip, my girlfriend and we adopted a street dog in Mexico, and we just fell in love with this dog. But we adopting a dog in Mexico and taking it on a plane and bringing it to Europe is an absolutely crazy idea. And obviously, your mind says, "Don't do that. That's a stupid idea. That's ridiculous." That's even what my parents said to me as well. But we did it anyway, and it wasn't the easiest thing in the world to do, but it was so rewarding. And my dog is just sitting down here right now as we speak, and so like she is Daisy. Daisy is her name, and she's the second time I followed my heart, and music is the third time I'm following my heart. So I know that I'm doing the right thing because I've been rewarded for it in the previous two times that I kind of ignored logic and went with my gut. So yeah, that's kind of my last bit of wisdom.
I want to go off of that just a little bit more.
Okay.
I think our mind is fooled by all the other distractions that happen in life, and when you have a mind that is fooled and you have a heart, what's right, I think that connection creates something we call insecurity. I think that's what makes people insecure. We know, like, deep down we want to do something, we want to strive, we want to take a risk, but our head is like, oh, what will he think? Oh, she said this. Oh, he did that. I think that is the biggest thing about insecurity in today's world, that people should just blatantly ignore altogether. Who cares? Quit letting the opinions of others, quit valuing other people's opinions about yourself more than you value yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and exactly.
Man, like, you should put yourself on a pedestal just like you put your celebrity crush on a pedestal. If you weren't guaranteed tomorrow, what would you feel about today? Yeah,
and it's just a touch on my dad. Like, when I told my dad I was adopting this dog, he said, that's a stupid idea. It's going to cost you thousands of dollars. Ridiculous. Don't do it. And so, I did it anyway. And then I hear that, from one of his work colleagues that all he does is like shows everyone a picture on his phone of me and my dog, and he's like bragging about what his son did and how and he's proud of me for doing it, but he's the one that told me it was a dumb idea in the first place. So that is why I know, and that's what I'm going to do with this music career thing is he's going to be proud, he's going to be happy that I made that decision. Yeah, do it for sure.
But on the realest note, thank you again so much for spending time with me, talking about the journey. I can't wait to tell people all about taking risks in life. You're literally the prime example of someone who took a risk in life to follow what their heart did, and now it makes them happy. You know what I'm saying? And that's just, I literally want to drive that into people's head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But on the realest note, I got nothing more.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for doing what you're doing. As I said, dude, you're so young, and to be so motivated to create something like this, a podcast, a platform like this, that spreads positivity. That's just amazing. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much, Ant. This is exactly why I do it.